See, I want to study how to improve the sleep quality of an individual. Because I'm not having adequate sleep, so I want to study sleep quality. So that positive experience also will guide you to make a research problem. And you can come here, conference, there are many conferences, when you go there, the sub-themes will be given. And when the new topics will be discussed, and you will get any insights. So these are the area you can able to get. Here is the question, suppose if you make a wrong decision, if you made a wrong decision, what will happen? Here is the answer for you. All the psychological problems, you are inviting, opening your window, come and get inside. Like the first one is frustration. You will be frustrated because you don't know the clue where to lead, where to end. And you will be depressed finally. The depressed scholars will say that my failure is only because of my supervisor. If the supervisor is good, I may be completed my research on time. They will not accept that this is the problem of them. I can say that the role of supervisor is only facilitator. You have to go and say that I'm having 3 options. Can you wait and say that which one is good? That is the thing they will do. They will not sit with you and write A to Z. And if you have that kind of mindset, please take a eraser and erase it. Okay. And next one is the researcher, when they are not having clarity about research problem, they will be stuck in the middle of the research. They cannot move forward. Like it's like a speed breaker. Speed breaker for 1 feet height is okay. Think about 6 feet. Like the wall we are having the next to our auditorium. We cannot move that side now. So that's the thing we can experience when you are not selecting proper research problem. And failure in your research attempt. Definitely it may happen. And wrong directions. So you may, sometime the Google map, you may ask you go to reach a particular destination, then same name it will be there another one. Instead of going the first one, you go to another place. So the research problem, you may thought that you are going here, but you are going exactly opposite to that. And you cannot submit on time. If you are not taking the right research problem, if there is a delay in your research, it is because of not selecting the proper research problem. So these are the impact when you are making a wrong decision on your research problem. Suppose if you take a good research problem, what will happen? It will never focus on the problem, it will focus on the solution. How I can find the solution for my research? How I can complete? What are the things I can make it? Whether is it useful for the society? See, ultimate aim of all the research, science, social science, behavioral science or yogic sciences, it must be useful for other members. You are not doing the research and keep it in the rack. It must be useful for the members. And it must minimize the burden of the researcher. For example, if I want the clarity, it will not give any, for example, when you plan for a vacation, if you are having well-planned vacation and you will not have any burden, the same thing will be for your research problem. When you select your research problem in the beginning itself, you will not have any problem at all. And it will lead the right direction and it will save your time and you will complete your research within 3 years. I still remember one of my friends, his name is Vayavri Raja. I still remember the day we were registered on November 2nd. And he is the only person in our team, he submitted November 1st. Everything he planned. Everything he planned. For us, the last week when he gave the report to the guide and he told me that come to the next year. I was submitted after a year only. For me it takes 4 years for completing my research. I'm not planned properly. Based on my experience, I'm saying that when you take proper research and when you well plan in that, 6 months before you must have the complete report in your hand. The last 6 months is for only refining your research report, not at the last moment. And here is the role of supervisors. So what is the main role of supervisors? They have to motivate to select the correct research problem and they have to create the awareness about what is the research problem, what is not a research problem, what can be addressed, what cannot be addressed. And they have to explain and answer the questions the research scholars having in their mind. For that, the research supervisors also need to read a lot. When you are scholars saying that I'm going to study the particular area, if you are not specialized in that, it is very difficult to give the answer. Okay, so you have to read more. You have to give the answer for the questions asked by your researchers. And you have to guide them and reframe that. As I said now, when I'm selecting the whole Tamil Nadu, they refine into only 2 districts. You can refine them and reframe them. if the research problem selected by your research scholar is not appropriate. And some research scholars, they want to complete by any means. Can I give the report to someone else to write for me? Can you accept it? Unethical practices should not be encouraged by the research supervisors. And we have to give the quality, the commitment among the research scholars. And finally, brainstorm with your researcher and refine the research problem within that 1 year of time. The confirmation letter you will receive. So before that, you can consult with your supervisor, brainstorm it and then refine it. Ask more probing questions to the researcher what they do. Okay, and that time you have to ask more critical questions to the research scholars. Then only you will come up with a quality research. And with that, I can stop here. I'm having 3 more minutes for my session. If any questions, you can ask me. And one icebreaker I would like to stop here. Okay, you can look at my hand, take your left and right. Okay, only one finger. You have to tap one finger. Yes. 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you for appreciation. Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
without your intervention, we will have
एक बार जोरदार ताली से I think this was the most important topic. अगर आपको ये समझ आ गया तो इसका मतलब आपका सक्सेस। अभी मैं सर को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करूँगा। हमारे पास तो टाइम कम है, रामाकृष्ण जी का भी नेक्स्ट स्पीच है। Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
रात को सोने से पहले क्या करना है? बाबा को लेटर लिखना। क्या करना है? बाबा को लेटर लिखना। आपने कौन सा टॉपिक? बाबा को बोलना सुबह मुझे टच करें। आप फिर पहले क्या करना? जो बाबा आपको फर्स्ट टचिंग है या जो आपके दिल में है, जैसे सर ने आपको गाइड किया, कौन सी स्किल्स आपके पास है, कौन से इंटरेस्ट आपको देने हैं, सर ने सारा क्या किया? कंप्लीटली स्पीक किया। तो उनको मन में रखते हुए बाबा को क्या करना? लेटर लिखना। आपके दिल में क्या है? देखिए बाबा सुबह क्या कहता, टॉपिक लिखना। ठीक है, करेंगे सर? करेंगे सर? So now I would like to invite our great counselor, रामाकृष्ण जी। सब शायद मैं कौन है जो भाई साहब को नहीं जानते? अच्छा, प्रोफेसर भी सब जानते हो। कोई है जो हमारे भाई साहब को नहीं जानते, रामाकृष्ण जी को? किसी ने भाई साहब हाथ नहीं खड़ा किया, तो मुझे जरूरत नहीं कि आपकी इंट्रोडक्शन देने की। तो भाई साहब आएंगे। इस टॉपिक विल बी एप्लीकेशंस ऑफ जी। तो भाई साहब हैदराबाद से हैं और वहाँ पर रिट्रीट सेंटर पर रहते हैं। बाबा के समर्पित बच्चे हैं, बहुत ही रिनाउंड काउंसलर है वहाँ पर। बहुत देर से प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं और हमारा जो MSc काउंसलिंग एंड स्पिरिचुअल हेल्थ है, उसमें सबको काउंसलिंग कैसे करना है, प्रैक्टिकल काउंसलिंग क्या होती है, इनके पास मैं समझता हूँ 15-20 साल का कम से कम मतलब तो होगा। तो इतना सारा अनुभव है, तो जब ये बोलेंगे आप खुद ही समझ लें।
so interesting. Listening to these learned persons has given a very vital perspective इन लोगों की अनुभव से जो भी हमें समझाए उसके एक बहुत एक वाइडर पर्सपेक्टिव से हम इस चीज़ को देखने की प्रयास किए। कई प्रकार के थॉट्स इग्नाइट हुए हैं, धीरे धीरे हमारा माइंड फोकस में आ रहा है। फर्स्ट डे में और आज के दिन में वो परिवर्तन हो सब देख रहे हैं। इस सेशन में हम थोड़ा सा साइकोलॉजिकल पर्सपेक्टिव में इसको देखने की कोशिश करते हैं। देखिए, हम सब ने पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन में साइकोलॉजी को स्टडी किए, कई MBA स्टूडेंट्स भी हैं, वो भी साइकोलॉजी को स्टडी किए, वैल्यू एजुकेशन के स्टूडेंट्स भी। उसमें और इसमें डिफरेंस क्या है? क्या डिफरेंस है? हमने पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन में जैसे कि थियरीज देखे हैं, एक काउंसलर के स्किल्स के बारे में समझे, काउंसलर किस प्रकार के प्रॉब्लम्स को एड्रेस करते हैं वो भी देखे हैं, और उसकी मेथडोलॉजीज को स्टडी की है, प्रोसेस को स्टडी किया, और क्वालिटीज़ के बारे में समझा, और कई प्रकार के छोटे छोटे Hindi and English, let's try to combine them. Hindi is being translated. That is a relief to me, as most of the people are from South India. We have a problem of spoiling the beauty of Hindi by making it स्त्रीलिंग और पुल्लिंग में गड़बड़ कर देते हैं साउथ में। ठीक है। Now we have studied it in that dimension where we got the theoretical part of it, and we also had the knowledge part of it, and we also understood the process. And then when you have gone out to the field, how many of you could very successfully do this? Very successfully. And how many of you found it challenging? Don't hesitate to say. Feel free to express them. How many of you have not even tried? Okay. One thing is learning something. The other one is using something which you have learned. The third one is mastering something which you have learned. Okay. हमने उस समय एक बात बताई थी कि आपको अगर प्रोफेशनली काउंसलर के रूप में एस्टैब्लिश होना है, आप इंग्लिश लेट मी मेक इट राइटिंग। आप प्रोफेशनली, if you want to establish yourself as a very good professional counselor, we have suggested that reach out to a doctor or a very good clinical psychologist or a social psychologist. Identify the area where you want to work. Let it be the children, let it be the people in the clinical dimension, educational, whichever area you want. Identify and reach out to some people who are experts in that area, and at least work on 200 cases along with them. Okay, maybe in a period of 1 year or 2 years, different areas. If you are taking up 20 different areas, and in that 20 different areas, you are doing 10 cases, which means that you have some clarity in that area, and now you get to a state where you can independently start working in those respective areas. We discussed in that way when students were asking me this. Now, where are we going? Why have we come to the research dimension? What happened to what we have learned? And how is this different from that? Can anyone suggest? How is this different from what we have done last 2-3 years? How is it different? Is that not scientific? Is that not organized? That is scientific. That is organized. What more?
Application.
Okay, that was discovered, invented, and proposed by someone, proved and scientifically established, and we started applying that in our respective areas. That's it. Okay, that's the difference. Earlier we were trying to do what others have already identified and established. And now what we are trying to do? What are we trying to do? सोचिए सभी क्या करने के प्रयास कर रहे हैं हम सब? जो ऑलरेडी किया हुआ है उसको तो समझ गए हैं, उसके अलावा हम कुछ नया करना चाहते हैं. ओके? एक स्किल को प्रैक्टिस करना, एक नॉलेज को अंडरस्टैंड करना, उससे विजडम को डेवलप करना, उसको अप्लाई करना, उसमें स्किल डेवलप करना. और दूसरी बात है, हम सबको समझने के बाद जैसे जैसे हम कर रहे हैं उसमें कुछ बातें थोड़ा इनकम्प्लीट लग रही है, कुछ बातें लग रही है इसे थोड़ा इम्प्रूव किया जा सकता है. लग रहा है कि ये एरिया डार्क एरिया है, यहाँ पर टूल्स नहीं है, यहाँ पर कुछ मिसिंग है ये, और कुछ नया प्रॉब्लम्स जैसे जनरेशन चेंज हो रहा है, सोसाइटी की डायमेंशंस चेंज हो रहे हैं, कुछ नए प्रॉब्लम्स भी आ रहे हैं. लाइक क्या नया प्रॉब्लम्स आ रहे हैं अभी? मोबाइल एडिक्शन न्यू प्रॉब्लम. ओके, और रिलेशनशिप्स के इश्यूज वो तो द्वापर युग से है, बढ़ रहे हैं. फाइन. और ओके, और डिप्रेशन तो है, कौन समय से अभी ज्यादा है. इंटॉलरेंस वो भी है. तो मुझे कुछ नया चीज बताइए जो आपने ऑब्जर्व किया, ये प्रॉब्लम लग रहा है नया आ गया. सोशल मीडिया, ठीक है, ऑलरेडी 2 डेकेड्स हो गए हैं, मगर फिर भी अगर पहले डिप्रेशन होता था कोई फ्रेंड्स नहीं मिल रहे हैं, अभी डिप्रेशन हो रहा है मेरे पोस्टिंग को लाइक्स नहीं मिल रहे, या मेरे फ्रेंड रिक्वेस्ट को किसी ने एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया, उससे भी डिप्रेशन आ रहे हैं. राइट? माना रियल प्रॉब्लम से ज्यादा परसीव प्रॉब्लम्स में आ रहे हैं. राइट? दैट कैन आल्सो बी टॉपिक. और क्या है नया जो न्यू प्रॉब्लम्स हम देख रहे हैं? ड्रग एडिक्शन बहुत समय से है जनाब.
Suicidal tendency, which is very increasing.
साइकोसोमैटिक वो भी है, बढ़ गए हैं साइकोसोमैटिक प्रॉब्लम्स.
Political interference.
वो क्या है? हाँ, और पार्डन, इफेक्ट्स ऑफ ऑनलाइन क्लासेस. कोरोना के बाद एक नया डायमेंशन आया है ना, इफेक्ट्स ऑफ ऑनलाइन क्लासेस. और जो काउंसलर्स प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं उनके लिए एक चीज़ है, पहले मेरा भी ये व्हाट यू कॉल बिलीफ सिस्टम था कि इन पर्सन ही काउंसलिंग करना चाहिए और वर्चुअली नहीं करना चाहिए, क्योंकि उनकी बॉडी लैंग्वेज हम नहीं समझ पाते, उनकी वो फील्स मिलना मुश्किल हो जाता है, इसीलिए हम ओनली इन पर्सन ही प्रेफर करते थे. और उन्होंने पूरा वॉश आउट कर दिया. मैं ये देखा कि वर्चुअली भी हम और ज़्यादा सक्सेसफुली कर पा रहे हैं. इट्स अ न्यू लर्निंग, राइट? इट्स अ न्यू लर्निंग, है ना. एक परसेप्शन को, पुराने परसेप्शन को ब्रेक करके नया परसेप्शन. एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल से ये न्यूनेस किस प्रकार से हम रिसर्च में न्यूनेस ले आ सकते हैं. हमारे माइंड को जो ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग है उसी के ऊपर वर्क करना रिसर्च नहीं है. समथिंग न्यू, वो समथिंग न्यू जो भी है वो बहुत बेसिक भी हो सकता है, जिससे भी आपका रिसर्च सर्टिफाइड हो जाएगा. बहुत बेसिक है, मगर इससे पहले किसी ने नहीं किया. मैंने एक टेड टॉक देख रहा था, एक पर्सन ने गार्डन में एक छोटी सी चीज को ऑब्जर्व किया, बर्ड का. उसने उसकी बिहेवियर को ऑब्जर्व करके उस एक छोटी सी बिहेवियर के आधार पर उसने एक छोटा सा पेपर पब्लिश किया और उनका रिसर्च डॉक्टर छोटी सी बिहेवियर को ऑब्जर्व करके उसने अचीव कर दिया. और किसी ने कोई एक चीज को आइडेंटिफाई करने में कई हजारों लोगों से इंटरकल्चरल, ओके, और इंटरकॉन्टिनेंटल भी वर्क करके कई साल वर्क करके रिसर्च पेपर सबमिट. जैसे इवान स्टीवनसन की परसों कल हम बात कर रहे थे, वो तो थाउजेंड्स ऑफ केसेस को स्टडी किया. डिफरेंट कंट्रीज, एशिया में भी ट्रैवल किया, मिडिल ईस्ट में भी ट्रैवल किया, यूरोप में भी ट्रैवल किया. कई कंट्रीज को ट्रैवल करके कई केसेस को स्टडी करके 400 केसेस माय गॉड मैंने देखा कई साल उसने वर्क किया उसके फाइनली उनकी पेपर भी पब्लिश हुई कभी कभी बहुत बेसिक छोटी एलिमेंट्स से भी पब्लिश हो जाती है कई बार बहुत डिफिकल्टी से होती है तो प्रश्न ये है कि the basic question is why do you want it why do you want to do this आपका कोई प्रॉब्लम को आइडेंटिफाई होते हुए उसके ऊपर वर्क करने की मनसा से हमने ज्वाइन किया या वो मनसा नहीं है मगर हम अभी प्रिपेयर करेंगे उस प्रकार के फोकस के साथ हम विल वर्क ऑन दैट डायमेंशन एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल के साथ आपके आगे ये बात रखता हूँ एक व्यक्ति ने one person was doing his engineering उसने engineering complete किया again I'm coming back to it ठीक है so this person completed his engineering after completing his engineering he went to his village okay when he went to his village he has seen one very painful thing he has observed and that painful thing was someone died in that village because of a snake bite and that was happening in the early morning and then he tried to understand what's happening why is this happening and he asked why this is happening and the person came to know that this incident happened just because the person had to go to the fields which is around 3 to 4 kilometers away from their home or the village just to switch on the motor in the morning. So this person traveled every day. This person is going for 4-5 kilometers and switching on the motor and coming back. Okay. Now, then he saw that his brother is also doing the same thing, and his father is also doing the same thing. And he got scared. Then he identified that this is a very risky thing. You don't know where you are going. There are no street lights. You walk in the fields, you will step on some snake or something, you may fall down, some heart attack, something, anything can happen. So he found that this is not very safe. And these people are going all the way just to switch on the motor. Right? Now, he started feeling concerned about his family. And then he found that everyone is doing the same thing. He found that there is a very big problem. Lot of energy, lot of human resources, lot of time is getting wasted in this. Then one question came into his mind. What is that question? How can we start? Now we have the solution, so that's why we are able to identify. But at that time, this person said, how can we start the motor without going there? Right? Then what he did? I will have some questions after the whole story. Okay, be prepared. You need to explain me answers to the questions. Now this person started studying, started doing research. He worked on his own ways. How can I start the motor without going to that place? How can I start? And he worked and worked and worked. He could not get ideas. He was researching. Then he found out that some terrorists are using this technology. Some Naxalites are using, antisocial elements are using this technology. What are they doing? Remotely, they are using the technology to blast, okay, to detonate things. Then he applied that technology and brought it into daily use. How did he do that? Okay, by using a mobile. By passing a signal, okay, if the mobile is started, when you are ringing to a mobile, the ring connects to a circuit and then the motor starts. And again after some time you ring to the same mobile and then it again connects to the circuit and the mobile and the switch offs. He created a product. And then with that product, he solved his family problem. Is it enough there? What has he to do? Now he thought of implementing it in his society. Okay? And now this engineer, after a product was created, he shifted to become an entrepreneur. He started production of it. Okay? Now, after that, after doing this, now slowly we try to connect that person with some other manufacturers, bigger manufacturers through which that can be taken forward. And now the question is, this is a bigger problem which has been addressed. Now, what is the problem? What is the problem statement here? What is the problem statement? Okay? Okay, right. Okay, that comes to the intention. Here, you don't have a demand yet. Okay, there is no demand of that product yet. There is a need for research. Okay, can we call this as a research? And is it published? There are so many researchers which are not published. And now if this person, after creating that product, okay, some other people will copy it and then they will publish it. Because if he doesn't publish. And now there is another thing is if he doesn't apply for copyrights, other person will use those copyrights and start using it. Peculiarly, Ayurveda is very famous in India from generations. And we know the what you call the rights, the patents of ashwagandha is not in India. The very basic Ayurvedic medicine. The patents of it is with someone else. Because they have submitted. Because previous research is not being authenticated. Okay? And there are different things which are happening. And now, what should this person do? You people are also going to create some genuine researches. Tomorrow that research can be very, very powerful. And that can change the whole scenario of the world. For example, you may be seeing so many people coming with sleep deprivation problems in counseling. Okay? After doing so many cases with them, if you do some research on that dimension, create some tool or create a process through which it is a simple process of 2-3 minutes, and once you complete that process, anyone in any state can go into deep sleep. Okay? It's a small process through which anyone can go into deep sleep. So then what will happen? What will happen? You're actually creating a huge impact on the society. It's a big, very big revolution that you're going to bring. Some families will be coming here. So you're going to create a huge revolution. Some things like this happened earlier, which were very, very simple and very, very powerful. Someone identified that stress gets accumulated in the muscles and musculoskeletal joints. And then there is a process to eliminate this stress. They worked on it different ways. What is that way through which that stress can be eliminated? Then they developed a small model where if you create if you increase that stress, in the sense, the strain, for example, if you are tensing that area, that muscle, more than through a contraction process, which is more than earlier strain, then it is found out that when you release it, the earlier strain is also going away. That is muscle relaxation. So with that muscle relaxation, they have also identified that if it is done in a progressive way, okay, one after another, if it is done in a progressive way, the whole body is getting relieved from the stress and the person is able to handle things in a proper way. The stress levels are coming down. And they named it as a progressive muscle relaxation. Now, a process is identified. Then what they are going to do? They are going to introduce this process, experiment this process on so many people to find out results. Is it really working or not? Different people they are identifying and doing it. And they found that that's really working. When that's really working, then the process comes to in a stage where you standardize it. One way it's not working, so you need to make some slight modifications. And then you are introducing some other way. And then you test on it, and afterwards you identify that yes, even that is not working. Then you work on it and do another way. And then finally you come to a process which becomes a standardized process. And then you experiment on so many people. It's giving excellent results. And that is the time when you are publishing it. Why are you publishing it? Why are you publishing it? You can keep the secret for yourself, right? Why are you publishing it? You want the world to know about it. Right? But what is the benefit that you are going to get when you want the world to know about it? There is a difference, we need to understand this. There is a difference between academic research, industry research, and maybe entrepreneur research or startup research. They have different objectives before. So many inventions are taking place. Are they all published? They are not published. So many researchers are taking place, they are not published. They are patented. So that they can mint money out of it. Academic research, you also have a right that people should reach out to you to use that instrument which you have created. And then out of all the hard work that you are doing, you have a right to have the reward of that hard work. That's where you patent the process. Like for example, different instruments are patented. And when we use these instruments, we need to buy those instruments. Though majority of the people don't buy and just continue doing it, but ethically we need to buy them, buy those instruments from us. For example, today we know that cognitive behavior therapy, irrational behaviors we try to study, rational emotive behavior therapy we all discussed on the previous sessions. Emotions play a very vital role on the behavior. Okay? And especially those emotions which are irrational. So when there are irrational reasons for emotions, they have a very strong impact on the behavior. When some scientists studied on this, when they tried to change that irrationality into rationality, what happened? Behavior started changing. People started having more rational understanding about situations, and there is a change in the behavior. So to change in the behavior, what has to be changed? The emotion, the source of the emotion has to be changed. And then that irrationality is contributing, that has been changed towards rationality, and the behavior is getting changed. And then a theory has come. And then they're trying to do this, experimented on so many people. How many varieties of irrational beliefs are there? Is it only one type, two types? How many can there be? Can we really measure it? So what is the process of measuring it? In medical sciences, you have blood tests through which you can easily identify the D vitamin levels, B vitamin levels, and other things. But in psychological terminology, what do you need to identify? You want to study the behavior. Observation you can do. You can do it through observation. Or you can collect information from the family members through which you will have data. Or you can even ask the person to identify and speak it out or write it out. So there different questionnaires are being done. So then I identified in this rationality, rational emotive behavior therapy, and the cognitive behavior therapy, the ABC model, where A is the activating event and C is the consequence. We are not changing the activating event, we are not changing the consequences, we are not running away from the consequences. Or we are not even running away from the activating events, but we are working on the belief system of a person. That's where it starts. And then 10 different areas are being identified. In certification, all of you have gone through that. And these 10 different areas are contributing towards the person's social environment, social connectivity, and the person's life that is strongly impacting on the person's feelings and emotions and things. So if these are identified, how can you measure that? How can you measure that? A scale is being prepared. Questions are being identified. Like there is an element called as catastrophic thinking. One person always thinks about catastrophes in his mind. What if this happens? What if that happens? Can you measure that? Someone always feels helpless. Can we measure that? someone needs demand. The person always demands for approval. He wants approval or she wants approval from everyone. If someone doesn't approve, they start getting into depression. Here, depression is not the problem. Here, if we try to work on the depression, we don't get the solutions. We need to work on the belief system, which has contributed towards that depression. And then this shift takes place. In that way, the core software we are trying to identify. And then they develop 100 questions. Each 10 questions are being catered to 10 different belief systems to identify whether to what extent it is rational, to what extent it is not rational. Then on that basis, the person's holistic identification has been done. Then that becomes a therapeutic tool, right? And can we do that for depression? Already done. Already done. We have, which is more focused towards the Indian scenario. Nice. Then depression in children. What about that? Depression in adolescents, depression in adult, depression in old age people. Scenarios are different. Their requirements are different. It is not the same for everyone, but we are having a universal scale. Okay? Some people, if you can't use the same adult questionnaire to the child, their depression reason. Can we do depression analysis for animals? We find dogs in depression sometimes. We find some animals also in depression. Now, how to identify them? There are some animal behaviorists who are doing research in that area also. For example, learning. Okay, so many researchers have come. It is identified that when you learn something, okay, now, for example, I will take a disease, okay, when addiction is someone is getting addicted to something, those brain areas which are active are the same with OCD. Even OCD patients are also having the same brain areas active, like in the form of addictions. Now, is OCD and addiction is one and the same? No. But with that input, some process of therapies are being identified how to deal with that. Right? So tools are also very important. What type of tools do you want? Do you want to work with the brain science? Do you want to work mostly on the behavioral sciences? So is it interdisciplinary, or you want to have a focused discipline? Whatever. But identifying a problem and addressing that problem. Okay? Empathy is a very, very powerful tool here. It is not just doing a research and getting away. It is about giving something to this world which can be used for a longer period of time. And is that always the same thing? Are we going to give something which would be staying permanently? May not. Tomorrow there can be better things coming out of it. Tomorrow what we have proposed can be challenged. Okay? You are moving from different stages. Your supervisor challenges it. Then you move forward. And then there are different people who will be challenging it. You will be going, even a right researcher will be going to different people and asking them to challenge this. Okay? Then you're actually coming to the core element of the research. Now the next stage, as we take it forward, then once it is standardized, it is published, someone challenges it. You know, it's very surprising here in the form of research. Okay? Even if someone contradicts with what you have and disproves what you have done, even that is also an element of research, isn't it? Disproves. That is the way all the hypotheses are disproved. And then it is a research thing, it doesn't become a law, it becomes a hypothesis again. It's not a law, it's only a theory. Okay? Darwin's theory. The whole world knows that it is only a theory. Only in the Asia, India, countries like us, we are somewhere conditioned to believe that there's a law. No, it's not. It's only a theory. It's not yet proved. Not proper evidences. Like small little evidences are there, but that can't be concretely proved that that is a fact. Okay? In that way, as you go on, even in the psychological dimension, where I said we were discussing applied psychology. Where are you applying it? What are the different psychological areas where you can identify and apply it? And when it is in the form of management, when it is in the form of education, we identify that every good psychologists know that everyone has a different way of learning things. But we have pushed everyone into one classroom and in the same methodology we are teaching. But everyone's way of learning is different. Okay, like someone questions and learns, someone reads and learns, someone listens and learns, someone sees others discussing something and then learns. In a group discussion, someone learns through argument, someone learns by contradicting something and failing to disprove, then he learns or she learns. Everyone has a different way of learning. Can we identify and standardize all these learning processes? Here we have a combination of yogic sciences and also the combination of psychology. I'll give you a small example. When we were coming to Abu Road, one of the research scholars was sharing a beautiful experience. The research scholar was sharing that when she was attending a patient, okay, who is going through severe anxiety to that extent where the whole body is shivering. And at that time, this person tried to do some meditation, okay, and the person holds the hands of the patient and then does some meditation and creates a meditative environment, and the person also starts meditating, and slowly in few minutes that shivering comes down. It's a beautiful process. It has been a process of meditation is there. Here a process of application has been done, and then the result has come. Okay? A problem is identified, and then a process is applied, and then the result has come. Now, is this enough? Now the point comes, how exactly, what is it that impacted the person? How has that been impacted? And is that the same with the other people as well? Okay, what type of anxiety scenarios can be handled through this? Okay, and how exactly is that working? If that is being tried with a number of people, and then the same results are coming, then what happens? Then what happens? You have created a beautiful process which can be applied by anyone, any place. Okay? It is not just about you. You doing it, then it doesn't become something, then it is confined to you. But if anyone, you have devised a process which anyone can apply anywhere and the same results are coming, then it has become a research. And then you will test a number of times and see is it really working. And then you have data, evidence to prove that. And then other people are also trying it and getting the same results. And then that becomes something which is established. It becomes universal. So what are the different areas where we can apply this? For example, you have met a cancer patient. Okay? And this cancer patient is going through severe cancer pain. And pain management is really becoming very difficult for the person. And as a student of yogic sciences, you have gone and tried to explain the mindfulness or the soul consciousness which you are practicing. You try to explain that and make the person practice it. And if you identify that after the person is practicing it, he is coming out of the suffering of the pain. The sensitivity of the pain is coming, and sensitivity can be measured. Then the sensitivity is 8. After the process of the yogic process which you have introduced, the sensitivity has come to 3 or 4, which is very much handleable. And then you are doing the same with a number of people. And the results are coming. And the process is well established and tested, time tested and tested with different people, and then the results are coming in the same. Then it becomes, it's a scientific experiment that you have done. And what are the different areas where you can apply the yogic sciences? Where do you think these can be applied? I want thoughts from your side. Haji? कहाँ apply कर सकते हैं? Pardon? Agriculture में. Okay. How seeds respond? Fine. Very good. अब यहाँ एक बात आ जाती है. ये हाइपोथेसिस ऐसा है कि एग्रीकल्चर में हम सीड्स के साथ काम करते हैं तो सीड्स बहुत अच्छे फ्लरिश होते हैं. इसमें हाइपोथेसिस. मेडिटेशन सिखाते हैं तो मेंटल प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो जाते हैं. इसमें हाइपोथेसिस. ये हो सकता है आप ट्राई कर रहे हो और आपका जो रिजल्ट आउटकम जो आ रहा है वो आपका हाइपोथेसिस को डिस्प्रूव कर रहा है. ओके? आप जो मेडिटेशन सिखा रहे हो उससे मेंटल प्रॉब्लम कम नहीं हो रहा है, बढ़ रहा है. समझिए. Are you ready to accept it? Are you emotionally getting disturbed? ज़्यादा आ जाए. Okay. Problem सब कुछ बहुत ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम्स है. That's an observation. आपने मेडिटेशन सिखाया, बहुत सिस्टमैटिकली सिखाया. एक मेंटल प्रॉब्लम में मेडिटेशन के कारण, ओके, आप राजयोग सिखाते हो या जो भी कहते हो, आपका प्रॉब्लम बढ़ रहा है, कम नहीं हो रहा है. अब आप इमोशनली डिस्टर्ब होंगे या डेटा को लेते हुए यस इन दिस सिनेरियो इट इज नॉट वर्किंग ये एडमिट करोगे या डिस्टर्ब
Basically,
Yeah, taught me.
our sir, it is because of you see Archimedes principle में we see that when we put a body in a water and the weight of the body is going down and in turn the water thrust is coming up. Suppose you start this process and the thrust is less and the weight is more. So it is bound that then the problem will multiply initially. Then you will have to double the dose. Then you will have to see that the problem is multiplying because the required time, required intensity, required dose is not given. So we will have to think this way also. Why the things are multiplying? There may be something with the fault. There may be some fault there.
ये आइडेंटिफाई किया गया कई जगह पे जब भाई साहब जो बताए हैं वो बिल्कुल परफेक्ट है आपका फेल्यूर के कारण आपका जो प्रोसेस में फेल्यूर हो सकता है या उसमें डोसेज इंक्रीज करना पड़ेगा या ऐसा प्रोसेस डिवाइस करना पड़ेगा जिससे वो हैंडल हो सकता है इसमें साइकोलॉजिकल डायमेंशन में अप्लाइड साइकोलॉजी में बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एलिमेंट है इसलिए मैं ये बात को ले रहा हूँ कई ऑब्जर्व किया कि जेन्युइन रिसर्च कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है आप पब्लिश करते हो रिसर्च एस्टैब्लिश हो जाता है और पब्लिश हो जाता है कल के दिन आपका रिसर्च को आइडेंटिफाई करके किसी ने दूसरी जगह एक्सपेरिमेंट करके देखा रिसर्च नहीं आया ओके मल्टीपल प्लेसेस में अप्लाई करके देखा मल्टीपल प्लेसेस में रिजल्ट्स नहीं आए तो व्हाट हैपेंस दिस रिसर्च इज बीइंग डिस्प्यूटेड ओके रिपीटेबल नहीं है वो जो बेसिक एलिमेंट है जिसमें रिपीट होना चाहिए इट हैज टू रिपीट इट्स नॉट गेटिंग रिपीटेड कैन बी रीट्राइड बाय एनीवन एल्स इट्स नॉट हैपनिंग देखिए यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड द सेंसिटिविटी ऑफ दैट एलिमेंट अप्लाइड में ये बहुत एलिमेंट सटल होता है फॉर एग्जांपल इफ यू आर वर्किंग ऑन माइंडफुलनेस you are working on visualization meditation every meditation has a different purpose and different methodology which is being followed in it mindfulness meditation observational meditation जैसे राजयोगा में आपको साक्षी भाव का meditation is a different one and then visualization meditation is a different one meditation same है मगर वही meditation relaxation के लिए भी use किया जा सकता है वही meditation focus के लिए भी use किया जा सकता है Raj Yoga is the same, but you use the same Raj Yoga for relaxation also. You can use the same Raj Yoga for focus. The process is different. We need to understand. I'll just simplify it by giving you an example. If there is a small, if you drop something in a water pond, then the ripples start, right? Or ripple visualizations, for example. If you are visualizing a ripple, if this ripple is spreading from one point and spreading, expanding, if you are visualizing that gives you relaxation. On the contrary, if you are visualizing that the ripple is coming towards the center, what happens? That increases the concentration. If you are doing ripple, concentrated ripple visualization before you are sleeping, what happens? Your sleep gets disturbed. Have you ever noticed yogic practitioners? Sometimes you practice yoga but you lose sleep, you are not getting sleep. Your happiness has not come down, but your sleep is not there. You are not able to sleep because you have done concentrated meditation. There, that is the time when you have to do the relaxation meditation. And if you are doing meditation in the morning, the relaxation meditation, what happens? They are doing it in the Murali. If you are doing it in the classroom, you are doing cool relaxation meditation and then you want to study. What will happen? So here the parameters are to be identified specifically. So that is the study which you need to do. Okay, for example, now we'll come to the clinical dimension of it. Some meditations are dangerous for some type of diseases. Okay, can anyone give an example?
Vipassana. Vipassana is dangerous in season.
Pardon?
Vipassana meditation.
Meditation. Some meditations are very dangerous in some diseases. For example,
Schizophrenia.
anyone who is having the problem of hallucinations, Okay, and you give them creative meditation or visualization meditation, what happens? Okay, and the therapist will get into depression. Do you know why? He was doing meditation as Hanuman as a subject, or Lakshmi Narayan as a subject. Last 20 years you have not seen them. And this fellow, the moment you train them in meditation, giving the visualization of Hanuman or Lakshmi Narayan, he feels them that they are just moving along with him. He will be talking with them. And then you see, whom are you talking to? He said, I am talking to Hanuman. I could see him. You have ignited his, hallucination element. And the person is visualizing it. And for him or for her, that visualization is reality perception. Okay, there is a distortion in perception there. That looks like reality, and the person is getting effect. So meditation now, if you are working with so many schizophrenic patients with creative, your Rajyoga is disabled. Right? Now what you have to do there? This meditation doesn't work. Some other meditation will work. There are so many meditational subtle elements in Raj Yoga also. The Sakshi meditation, the neutral meditation, the meditation where you don't get involved into something and just try to observe. Observational meditation will work. In anxiety, what type of yogic science will work in anxiety? In which type of anxiety that will be working? In phobias, how it will be working? Apply it. How to reduce the anxiety. The whole thing is the stimuli and the response. Okay? In phobia, the stimuli, the response is a reaction. It is autonomous. The gap between the stimuli and the response has to be increased. If you are able to successfully do that through the yogic sciences, then you are discovering a better process. Okay? So how we are going to connect? So I want you to give me some problems where you can apply this. What are the different problems or situations where yogic sciences and the research or the study can be applied and some good results can be brought out?
Criminals who are into jail.
Complementary Reiki therapy. Okay. So you want to address the pain. Okay. Very good. So pain relief is one area where yogic sciences can be applied, right? Like that, more express more areas.
Criminals who are into jail.
Pardon?
Criminals
Criminals?
who are in jail.
What is it that you are going to do? What is your goal there?
Where you can categorize the criminals and then meditation can be through meditation.
No, you are teaching meditation. So what is the purpose? And how are you going to measure it? You want to work on criminals. That is the area which you have selected. But what is it that you are going to bring out of that?
Once they come out from the jail, how do they behave?
They will behave very well to come out of the jail. They really behave very well to come out of the jail.
And those who are not treated by
The
meditation.
criminal mentality, the belief system, that has to be changed. Okay? What are those vulnerable elements which are contributing towards that criminal mentality? That has to be changed, right? So how your yogic system can sensitize that? That thoughts are changing, transformation thoughts. For example, so many people have gone out of addiction after coming to Raj Yoga. Their behavior changed, so many things have changed. Okay? If we say that coming to Murli or coming to discourses and coming to meditation will change you, that's not enough. What worked to bring about that change? That has to be identified. And that has to be checked with so many people. And that has to be standardized. And then that if we are applying that to different people, the same results have to come. Right? You want to, there are evidences, so many evidences where Yoga has wonderfully worked on changing criminal people. Okay? And now you are working on that data and identifying what are the factors which have really contributed towards that change. If you do that research and identify all those parameters and apply those parameters in different areas and the same results are coming, done. Right? Any other areas? Pardon? Schools and colleges. What is schools and colleges? Okay. 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 Fine. Can you make it more concrete? For example, assertiveness. Okay? When people have researched on assertiveness, they have identified that how assertiveness can really work well and how can that be developed. There is another example. For example, how reinforcement works. Some people have worked on reinforcement, incentives, maybe the token system, different reinforcing agents they have identified, and they have worked with people and animals and see that reinforcement is actually changing the behavior. So positive reinforcement. Then some people identify the negative reinforcement also. They did researches on the negative reinforcement. Even negative reinforcement is also bringing some changes. So this reinforcement is one area. For example, you want to say humility is one. So how humility helps? Can we standardize these things? Can we identify those processes through which we can work? What are the different, for example, soul consciousness and body consciousness? We all know the theoretical part of it. So how can that be developed? And when we develop, what are the psychophysiological changes that are taking place? Is it also affecting the brain chemistry? Now we have wonderful tools. Can highlight on that. We have wonderful tools to measure that also. Brain scannings can give the reports very well. There are thermal scannings also which have come, which highlights those thermal areas wherein which you identify that these areas are actually getting impacted. So the whole process is to identify those areas. You will be given so many topics which can be connected with yogic sciences and also the psychological dimension, and see how it actually works. For this, we need to identify some practical problems which people are facing. Give me 10 problems that people are facing. Overactive, hyperactivity. Okay. So you want to experiment, you want to work on those areas where this hyperactiveness can be calmed down through the yogic sciences processes, to some process through which that hyperactivity calms down. Right? Why hyperactivity is negative? So that's the problem of the parents, right? If the child is hyperactive and goes into sports, he's running like Usain Bolt. He's doing gymnastics. Is it a real problem? First of all, to what extent it is normal, to what extent it is extraordinary, to what extent it is abnormal. Everything need not be abnormal, perceived abnormality. Sometimes it can be a perceived abnormality. So identify it. Okay? So that is it. That can be handled through counseling. There is another disease where it is like attention deficit hyperactive disorder is there. Okay, medications work. Then are you any yogic process through which the attention deficit can be